An adventure in the Apennines. A group of priests were called to Rome to treat of a grave business matter. They were bearers of important documents, and a large sum of money was entrusted to them for the Holy Father. Aware that the Apennines, over which they had to pass, were infested by daring bandits, they chose a trusty driver. There was no tunnel through the mountains nor train in those days. They placed themselves under the protection of the Holy Souls and decided to say a De Profundis every hour for them. When night in the heart of the mountains, the driver gave the alarm and, at the same time, lashed the horses into a furious gallop. Looking around, the priest saw fierce bandits at each side of the road with fixed rifles ready to fire. They were amazed that no shot rang out. They were completely at the mercy of the bandits. After an hour's headlong flight, the driver stopped and, looking at the priests, said, "I cannot understand how we escaped. These desperadoes never spare anyone." The fathers were convinced that they owed their safety to the Holy Souls, a fact that was afterwards confirmed beyond doubt. When their business was concluded in Rome, one of their number was detained in the Eternal City, where he was appointed chaplain to a prison. Not long after, one of the fiercest brigands in Italy was captured, condemned to death for a long series of murders, and awaited execution in this prison. Anxious to gain his confidence, the chaplain told him of several adventures he himself had, and finally of his recent escape in the Apennines. The criminal manifested the greatest interest in the story. When it was ended, he exclaimed, "I was the leader of that band. We thought that you had money, and we were determined to rob and murder you. An invisible force prevented each and all of us from firing, as we assuredly would have done had we been able." The chaplain then told him of how they had placed themselves under the protection of the Holy Souls, and that they ascribed their deliverance to their protection. The bandit found no difficulty in believing it. In fact, it made his conversion more easy. He died full of repentance. How Pius IX cured a bad memory. The venerable pontiff Pius IX appointed a holy and prudent religious bishop of a diocese. The priest, alarmed at the responsibility put on him, begged earnestly to be excused. His protests were in vain. The Holy Father knew his merit. Overcome with apprehension, the humble religious solicited an audience with the Pope, who received him most graciously. Once more he pleaded earnestly to be excused, by the Pope was immovable. As a last recourse, Padre Tommaso told the Holy Father that he had a very bad memory, which would naturally prove to be a grave impediment in the high office put on him. Pius IX answered with a smile, Your diocese is very small in comparison with the universal church, which I carry on my shoulders. Your cares will be very light in comparison with mine. I too suffered from a grave defect of memory, but I promise to say a fervent prayer daily for the holy souls, who in return have obtained for me an excellent memory. You do likewise, dear Father, and you will have cause to rejoice. The more we give, the more we get. A businessman in Boston joined the Association of the Holy Souls and gave a large sum of money annually that prayers and masses might be said for them. The director of the association was surprised at the gentleman's generosity, for he knew that he was not a rich man. He asked kindly one day if the alms he so generously gave was his own offering, or donations which he gathered from others. What I offer, dear Father, he said, is my own offering. Be not alarmed. I am not a very rich man, and you may think that I give more than I am able to do. It is not so. For far from losing by my charity, the holy souls see to it that I gain considerably more than I give. They are second to none in generosity. The printer of Cologne. The celebrated printer of Cologne, William Freysen, gives us the following account of how his child and wife were restored to health by the holy souls. William Freysen got the order to print a little work on purgatory. Correcting the proofs, his attention was caught by the facts narrated in the book. He learned for the first time what wonders the holy souls can work for their friends. Just at that time, his son fell grievously ill, and soon the case became desperate. Remembering what he had read about the power of the holy souls, Freysen at once promised to spread at his own expense 100 copies of the book which his firm was printing. To make the promise more solemn, he went to the church, and there he made his vow. At once a sense of peace and confidence filled his soul. On his return home, the boy, who had been unable to swallow a drop of water, asked for food. Next day he was out of danger and soon completely cured. At once Freysen ordered the books on purgatory to be distributed, feeling sure that it was the best way to obtain help for the suffering souls by interesting 100 people in them. No one who knows what they suffer can refuse to pray for them. Time passed, and a new sorrow fell to the share of the printer. This time, his dear wife was stricken down, and despite every care, grew daily worse. She lost the use of her mind and was almost completely paralyzed, so that the doctor gave up all hope. The husband, bethinking him of what the holy souls had done for his boy, again ran to the church and promised to distribute 200 of the books on purgatory, begging in exchange the urgent succor of the holy souls. Wonderful to relate, the mental aberration ceased. His wife's mind became normal. She recovered the use of her limbs and of her tongue. In short time, she was perfectly restored to health. The cure of a cancer. D. Joanna de Menezes thus tells us of her cure. She was suffering severely from a cancerous growth in the leg and was plunged on grief. Remembering what she had heard of the power of the souls in purgatory, she resolved to place all her confidence in them and had 9 masses offered for them. She promised moreover to publish her cure if it were granted. Gradually, the swelling went down and the tumor and cancer disappeared. An escape from brigands. Father Luis Manacci, zealous missionary, had great devotion to the souls in purgatory. He found himself obliged to set out on a dangerous journey, but confidently asked the holy souls to protect him the dangers that he was likely to meet him. His road lay through a vast deserted which he knew to be infested by brigands. Whilst plodding along, saying the rosary for the holy souls, what was not his surprise on looking around to find himself surrounded as by a bodyguard of blessed spirits. Soon he discovered the reason. He had fallen into an ambuscade of brigands, but the holy souls at once surrounded him and drove off the miscreants who sought his life. The holy souls did not abandon him until he was well out of danger. A return to life. The prior of Sierfontaines gives us his story. A young man of my parish fell dangerously ill with a typhoid fever. His parents were overcome with grief and asked me to recommend him to the prayers of the members of the Association of the Holy Souls. It was Saturday. The boy was at death's door. The doctors had had recourse to every remedy, all in vain. They could think of nothing more. They were in despair. I was the only one who had hope. I knew the power of the holy souls, for I had already seen what they could do. On Sunday, I begged the associates of the holy souls to pray fervently for our sick friend. On Monday, the danger passed. The boy was cured.